Hi, it's Andy again, and I have another tutorial from Parse. This one's going to be a Parse push tutorial on Android. So right now we are going to create a new project. So I've already created it here. It's called Parse push tutorial. As you can see, I just created it right now. So what you need from here are going to be your application ID and your client ID. I'm going to be deleting this app right afterwards, so I don't mind showing it for just tutorial purposes, but you're going to need to use the ones from your own account. After you've gotten these two things, create a new app and then place them in the strings file, strings.xml. You can just add them as a parse app ID and parse client ID. We'll reference these later in the parse push application. I've already created the file for a parse push application, but it doesn't have anything in it. So it's just parse push application extends application. And then I have the onCreate method created, but nothing's been added yet. Okay, so once you have those keys added, if you need, we're going to actually use the quick start page for Parse on how to get this up and running really quickly. But to find that, if you're on the new beta dashboard, if you click the little three dots on the bottom and select Docs, you can get go to Guide for Android, Quick Start, Push, and then when you select that, it'll pull up how to set up on Android with like a native application. We would want to select existing project because you've already created the app in Parse and you've already started an application here. So what we're going to first need to do is actually get the Parse SDK in our app. As you can see, it has not been added yet, but it's pretty easy to add. We can select here on project structure, go to dependencies, and make sure you select app on the bottom left corner, and then the plus icon in the top right. On Mac or Windows, one of the two, the plus icon's actually down on the bottom here. So let's search for Parse, and we'll find our it's 1.12. Well, we need the bolts as well, so let's add that, and then we'll add the Parse SDK. Here we go. So parse Android 1.12.0. So we've added the bolts, which is 1.3.0, and Android, which is Parse Android SDK, which is 1.12.0. So now that we've added those two, we can now reference the Parse SDK. So we'll close that out. We'll go back here. We'll close this, and this is actually the Parse push tutorial. You want to make sure that your project that you have is selected here, because the keys that they give you and everything is actually going to be for your particular project already referenced. Here's another way to set it up. You can just copy and paste this into your build.gradle file. It's not really necessary to download the SDK for this purpose. You can just avoid downloading it and just add this to your build.gradle file, and you have access to the basic Android SDK, as well as the bolts are required for the SDK to fully function. Okay, so we need to as I explained earlier, I created the application file. So it's this one, and it extends application. As you can see, this is grayed out, which means we haven't referenced it yet in our Android manifest. We'll do that in a little bit. Let's set this up first, though. So we're just going to create, copy these two lines, and we'll paste it here. And we can import our parse and parse installation. And personally, I like referencing we want the parse app ID. Referencing the string from the strings XML file. It's not really necessary, but you can do it if you'd like. So we just have to call parse initialize. This is the context, get string and get string for the app ID and the client ID, and then we're gonna save that in the background. All right. There's another way to initialize this as well. You can just call parse.initialize and only use the context. You can cut this out and add it into the Android manifest separately. Either way works. It doesn't really matter. This is the way that they put it in their docs, so we'll do it this way. Okay, so then we need to then copy all of this. So we'll just copy this, all these XML tags. We'll go back into our Android manifest, and after activity, we'll add it. So one of the important things here is we need to change com.parse.starter to match our package name. So our package name is up here. So we'll copy this. So we've tackled that tag. And try to find if there's another one. Okay, so the other one's going to actually be in our permissions and everything. So I think we're good for the receiver and the service. So now we'll go back here. We'll scroll down. We need to then copy all of these permissions over. So we'll copy this. And we'll go back to our project. And that goes actually up here. You can put it above the application. As you can see, we need to copy this line again, because we need to put it here. And again here. All right, so the permissions that we need for parse to work, parse push to work, is we need the internet, obviously. We need to be able to access the network state, so we need to make sure that there is an active internet connection. Parse needs to be able to wake up the phone even when it's asleep. Could do vibrate, so for your notifications. Needs to get accounts, because that's actually a requirement for the cloud messaging from Google. So they need to be able to get accounts. And then you need to be able to receive. As well as, here's another permission that we're creating, which is another, which takes our application package, and then we need to add a permission, and then this is a cloud message, C2D message permission, and then we need to add that permission as well. And that all works with this service here and the receiver. Okay, so let's go back to see. Oh yes, now we also need to add our one last step in our application. We need to add Android name, and it should automatically be populated for you for the parse push application. And now we need to run this. So let's see, going to, I don't want to do we want to run app. Yes, we do want to kill it. We're going to run it on our Nexus 5 emulator here. As you can see, it's just a blank app. It's just the hello world that's generically created when you create a new app. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the web console, once we have that up, we can hit the test the SDK. So we'll hit test. Oh, you know, it might still be saving in background. Let's see. There we go. So now it's saved. Because it has to save the application in the background, it's not instant. So as you can see, now we have our notification here. So our setup was successful. So we're all good to go. Thank you for watching this tutorial, and have a good day.